What's up, guys? You know what's going on. Another Friday, another live stream. Starting out this one kind of interesting. We are deep underneath something special. Looking at a little turbo. Let me go ahead and invite some people, make sure everyone knows that we're going live. Get everyone in here making fun of orange cars, purple cars, green cars. No one's safe no more. Everyone will get shots taken at. So let me just go ahead. So this is the shop truck. She's getting turbos. You guys know that we can't stay away from them. It is just mandatory at this point. So helium kit going on. Hopefully she should be ready for the track on this coming Friday. So of course, as usual, Turbo Smart goodies up there, wastegate, blackout kit on the turbos, so you can see them. What's up, Chris? Hope you're having a good Friday. I think you need some of these in your life at some point. So let me turn off my text light so he doesn't beat me for letting him die. Let me slide out from underneath here. Oh, what are these? What are these? Ooh, little Enki, little Hoosier. Little box falling down. Don't mind that. Don't mind that. Let me show you what we got here. We got straight from Japan, JDM, AF, Enki, RPT1, set up for the TRX. Bad old meats on there. We're hooking, baby. We're hooking. We're not running these. You know what's going on. So, the usual, we overdo it. Gonna make all the steam, so let's check up top. Let's look at this wrap. Hubba, this green, boys. This green. You know how I am with my greens. Jeremy's, that one Jeep we had in here, that green. God, I still want that color. So, let's see where we're at. Raised catch cans going on. We have 2 of them vented for all the PCV clearance. Again, hard pipes coming up, going into a blower. Again, more Turbo Smart stuff. So, yeah. Nice little setup. I can't wait to see what she does. So, this one's going to be fun, guys. I love turbos. I can't wait for my own. So, we got our Turo bumping out, boost controller in there, getting it suited and booted. Let's take a look. Ooh! Little hideaway. That'll be nice. That'll be nice, guys. Ah, look at these Forge Line wheels. I can't get over them. Such a sexy setup. So, got a little Trackhawk motor here. We'll be going through, going to be up for sale soon. If you're looking for something, whether it's Trackhawk, looking for a resto mod motor, anything like that, let us know. We literally have 2. And we're getting more as we go. So, if you need it, let us know. We probably got it. As well with 20,000 sites, 20,000 parts on the website. Mike Meekins, show my Jeep. She is outside. Start over. I'm not starting over. I'm already this deep into it, bro. So she's outside. She's behind my car somewhere. Your Jeep. You can see her right there. But so Turbo WK1. Getting ready to head out. Just putting the drive shaft back in. They're picking up. So moving and grooving as per usual. We got some blowers here. Bought used. Just the reality of it. This one, you can see her in there. Not happy. Not happy at all. She ate something. What it is, we're not sure. We bought it used. We're going to use it for something that Jeremy will talk about later. I'm not going to spoil the fun now, but blown up blowers ain't always a bad thing. I'll just say that. So let's see where we're at. Finally got parts came in for this. Timing cover, water pump, gaskets, all that fun stuff. A few of the Magnuson on there. The Magnusons, they got like little inserts that go in the cooling passages that are a pain to take out. You're either going to destroy, typically it ends up destroying the timing cover. So we got new ones. Truck had, a couple thousand miles on it, so we want to make sure everything's fresh, new gaskets, no leaks going in. Windage tray, we're still just waiting on that. That's just the reality of, using other suppliers for parts. Dealer says it should be here soon, so we're hoping, next week or so we'll see it, and then we can progress. But that's just the reality, man. You know, at the mercy of others. So this one getting the Pro Charger brackets on the intercooler. They were a little bit off, so they got sent back to get re-welded. So this should be finished up as soon as that shows up. Shouldn't be too far off. So fun stuff. Got the old Red Eye Super Stock. Sorry, not Red Eye Super Stock in here. She's a meaty sucker. She's a meaty sucker. I like this thing. In here for some other special things. Some other special things that, you know, we might disclose later. We like to keep you on your feet, y'all. Swipe left. Why? I'm not seeing comments. There we go. Comments are here. Big Meat Larry Hoovers. Yeah. All the meats. The problem is they don't fit my car because I like Enkis and I want these, but they don't fit my car. But just look at them. What's the details on the black Jeep with the forge lines? That sucker's getting turbos. That is a turbo, baby. Let me go ahead and pop the hood real quick. You're not going to see them because they're Helians, but I'll climb under there too just so you can see what's up. So, Billet Evolution, vented race catch can. This one has the blackout kit, so all the pipes are black. Kind of a, what do you call it? Like a textured black, nice little setup. So they do offer them in the normal raw, as you saw in the TRX, Helian does, or they offer this with the blackout package. So if you want the black pipes, definitely something we can do. You know, we can make it happen for you. So oil pump, all that fun stuff down there. But let's get to the stuff you actually want to see. Come on now. Oh, let me fix my camera. Oh, God. So there they are, the two of them. Look at these beautiful things. So making all the boost, all the spool noises, everything you want, baby. You gotta love the compound boost. You gotta love the flexibility of it. It is hard to beat. So besides just pure turbo, but that's besides the point, and I'm sure we'll talk more about it. So let's see if Jeremy's ready. And we'll figure out what's going on. Of course, it is Funny Hat Friday, so don't make too much fun, but, you know, Funny Hat Friday gang. So I got my little, hat on my bucket. Let's see what's up, gang. So, we just, gotcha. Love our sales team.
Helmet.
Hit his head, but thank God he has a helmet on. I'm going to go get my list of questions from last week. Jeremy, want to take over?
Sure. What's going on, everybody? So as Tula went over big time on the shop truck there. We are right close to testing, so should be ready for our track rental next week to see what we can do. Really looking forward. Brother killed it on the wrap. I think the colors came out really good. So yeah, we'll jump into could you versus should you? Mm-hmm. And any questions that we had last week? So
yeah,
what's the first one you got for us?
Could you, should you, air to air or air to water on a race car, track only setup?
Very good. So I personally would probably say that's more, I guess, not a could you, should you.
Right. It's which one's better.
Which one's better? Air to water has the better potential to reduce temperatures because what is actually bringing the temps down is fluid, like a radiator for coolant, engine coolant. So with that, with ice tanks, AC chillers that are available, you can actually drop those temperatures lower. Air to air, you are relying on ambient air temps. So if you have a 100+ degree day, the coolest temperature you're going to be able to get onto is just above ambient, right? Where in air to water, the temperature of the intercooler bricks are going to be much, much lower. So a little more maintenance, right? Ice tanks, you have to drain the water, replenish it with ice. AC chillers are probably the best option, but race cars, you have the compressor there that's going to slow it down a little bit in regards to efficiency. So pros and cons to both, but for race car application, I would say air to water has the better potential for consistency and reduced temperatures. So street car wise though, and air to air is probably the better option to go just because there's less maintenance. Understand that an air-to-water can get heat-soaked the same, if not more, than an air-to-air, because the air-to-air will always drop down to what ambient temperature is, where an air-to-water, depending your ice tank and everything like that, could store water in it that is actually hotter than ambient based on the amount of heat that it's sucking out of the setup. So for a street car, daily driven, anything like that, I usually recommend to go to an air-to-air unless you have a AC chiller than air-to-water. But race car, absolutely would say an air-to-water would be the way to go just based on the growth. So, good question.
Like not a could you, should you again,
Yeah.
but more so for our vehicles. When picking a slick, let's just say 17-inch for the most consistency, because that's what majority people run. Hoosier, M&H, Mickey, what's the go-to and why?
So on this, our modern Hemi, modern Mopar platform, we have to always consider that our vehicles are a little bit heavier than our domestic brothers, right? So GM and Ford are a lot lighter. So when picking a radial, if we're not talking a slick, what we need to assist us with getting the proper wrinkle and traction that we need is you want a little bit stiffer of a sidewall. So the most common that we see for the majority of our platform is going to be Mickey Thompson's. ET Streets are, the ET Street R's is what we normally run on ours in regards to 17-inch, even down to the 15-inch, due to the fact they do have a little bit stiffer of a sidewall, which helps with the drivability in regards to high mile an hour, high RPM type setups. If you have too soft of a sidewall on a very heavy car, you get a boat wobbly feeling at high speeds. Very sketchy. It basically feels like that the back end's kicking out when it's not, because you're flexing the sidewall and rocking back and forth, essentially is how it is. So the most common you're going to see on these modern platforms are the Mickey Thompsons. Nitto is another one. My personal opinion between those two, Mickey Thompsons are a little bit softer of a compound, so they wear faster, but they don't require as much heat to get really sticky. Nittos maybe better for a street car application because they're a little bit harder. I see them last longer in regards to street driving, and they require a little bit bigger of a burnout to get the type of sticky result we need. On the shop truck, you saw we did the Hoosiers. We did that purely for a size component, just based on how big of a tire that we needed. So that's kind of the go-to for that application. M&H's is what was popular on the WK1 platform, again, based on the sizing of what was available for the wheel, tire, and the height requirement. But that's kind of the order you probably see us go. Mickey Thompson's our go-to initial choice for most of the applications.
Could you, should you, carbon fiber drive shaft on the street?
Could you? Yes. Should you? I don't recommend it to our customers, and the reason being is they're strong, they're light, in rotating mass, it compounds in regards to the benefit from it. The problem with carbon fiber is it's technically brittle. So, an aluminum drive shaft, if you hit a rock in the road or nick it a little bit, it's still going to be structurally sound. A carbon fiber drive shaft, and I've actually seen it before, will, if it loses its integrity because it rubs on something or something bounces up and hits it, it just kind of explodes. It like shatters almost. So in a street car application where it's daily driven, I don't think the benefit of the weight savings over an aluminum drive shaft is worth it because of how delicate they technically are compared to an aluminum drive shaft. They are very, very delicate, and if they rub on anything, if they bounce off anything on the road, any type of structural imperfection.
Rocks being thrown up,
yeah,
you got sticky tires they're just tossing.
Yeah, so that's why we don't normally recommend it. I don't think the benefit for a street car is there for it. So, you got to be careful. Got to be careful. But that was a good one. What else?
How streetable were the dumps that we ran on the shop car? The bumper exits, because they're cool and they sounded awesome.
Yeah.
They weren't too bad.
Yeah, they weren't horrible.
The turbos helped.
Turbos are natural mufflers, so it's one of those that right now, honestly, that car is louder than it was with the turbos.
Yeah.
I have a catless mid pipe for racing, stock exhaust manifolds, and the AWE S touring exhaust, or their street version, and the car is louder than it was with the dumps from the turbos coming out the bumper. Location, I think, made it seem like it was louder than what it was, because naturally, with a full exhaust, the sound is projected out the rear of the car, where driving you have the projection in front of the car. But you can have a full conversation cruising down the highway with it, and you're not having to raise your voice or anything like that. Under wide open throttle, naturally, it's going to scream. You know, when you're pumping out 1,200 wheel horsepower plus out of it, anything's going to be loud. But turbos are great mufflers, and like you said, mine with a full catback on it, it's more quiet with the turbos than it is now with the full catback. But it's still loud. It's still loud.
Windows up, it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
Windows down, I mean, when I was at Mo Party with Bob, we were able to have a full conversation when we were driving up to the up to our booth, and it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, you get used to it too. But I've had several cars with dumps before, so it's not horrible. But definitely louder.
I like it for the cool factor alone.
Absolutely.
Any reason a tune could hide the faults from a bad map sensor?
Yeah, absolutely. You just turn it off.
So
we tuners have some codes that are restricted to us from enabling, disabling due to emission standards, but a tuner can disable a code for any sensor in the car other than that for the most part. So map sensors, coolant sensors, intake temp sensors, knock sensors, misfire counters, throttle body codes.
The list goes on, man.
The list goes on. So yes, it can be disabled. I don't know why anybody would do that, but you can do that. So yes, you can.
Let's see what else we got. Do you want to talk anything about our shop truck?
Any questions about it?
Full exhaust and boost actuated cutouts. Boost cutouts or electric cutouts? Pros and cons.
That's a good one because we had a couple conversations on it. So what a boost actuated cutout is similar to the functionality of a wastegate. I've actually seen people use wastegates and call them boost cutouts. But basically what it is it relies on a certain boost pressure to open a diaphragm that then moves the cutout. I'm a big fan of that. That's what I had in my first TRX that was turboed because especially in the Midwest, if you're going to be driving it every day, electric motors don't take well to, corrosion and salt and sand, depending on where you are. Where a boost actuated cutout is mechanical. So, it relies purely on mechanical components and vacuum/boost to open and close. So, electric cutouts are cool because you can open and close them at will anytime you want. So, if you want a full, catback exhaust, you can run it then. Boost actuated cutout based on how you spec it. Mine was set at 5 pounds of boost, for example. So anything over 5 pounds of boost would dump the exhaust. The TRX we had last week, the gray one that had our single on it, had a 4-inch boost actuated cutout. So cruising, normal acceleration on the highway, straight through the exhaust. Get on it at all, it frees the exhaust flow for performance. So very cool there. Electric, you get to choose when and how. So if you want it open and idle, you can do so. To amplify the chop if you have a cam or, the turbo whistle at idle, absolutely. If you want it closed all the time, you can as well. So a little more flexibility, but reliability I do see, pending maintenance and weather conditions, you might run into issues with that. So, I've run both on my vehicles, and I did run into issues with my electric ones, but the boost actuated one I've never had an issue with. So there are tricks to where you can use like a manual boost controller to adjust how it works and everything. So there are some tricks around how you can, operate them and raise it, the boost it what they open with a manual boost controller. So still some flexibility, but not quite like that of an electric one. So flexibility versus reliability, they both are going to perform as well in regards to sound and performance there. So
good. What was the other one? I literally just talked to someone about this today. Turbo 400, could you, should you?
Yeah, we did have that conversation with the guy yesterday about it. Good one. Turbo 400, yeah, you can, absolutely. I mean, that's, it's been done. Should you? Based on what you're trying to do with the car. I will tell you, I've done Turbo 400 swaps in street cars, and almost every one of them has switched back to a factory-built version of the transmission. So, kind of, the old school mentality on the Turbo 400 is it's beefy, cheap to build, and it will last and take power abuse. The problem is the daily drivability of it is greatly sacrificed. You really got to, determine what you're trying to do with it. If you're going race car, you want that trans brake, you got turbos you need to spool up with a big stall, and you want the consistency piece, absolutely a Turbo 400. But if 90% of what you're going to be driving that vehicle is on the street, with the ability and the technology we have this day to build a transmission, I really don't see a need for 95% of the people out there. Again, we echo our shop car that made 1,500 plus, went 850s in the quarter full weight with the cooled seats on. I had an 8-speed transmission in it, so there's no reason for me to switch to a turbo 400. Could it have been faster at the same boost level with the turbo 400? Maybe, but it wasn't a race car. It didn't have a cage in it. It wasn't set out to do that. It was just a high horsepower, high horsepower build. So yeah, it's based on your application. I know guys that have driven turbo 400 on a daily basis. So if you're about that race car life on the street, go for it. But the amount of control and the capabilities of the modern transmission this day and age, I don't see many applications where it's necessary anymore. So
gotcha. This one's for both 5.7, 6.4, and Hellcat powered vehicles. Ooh. Bigger throttle body on a stock manifold or blower. Is there any point to it, or are you just kind of throwing money away?
Throwing money away. So if you have a stock vehicle and you're throwing a bigger throttle body on it, it is a complete waste of money. Now, let's talk about the reasons why. We'll start with the Hellcat, because most people are like, oh, supercharger, you need a bigger throttle body to let more air in. Well, the snout is designed for a factory throttle body, so there's really no gain. 5.7 392s, again, they are, when you break down how they're designed, they're not really restricted from the factory, right? So we're not seeing massive vacuum on the map sensors at wide open throttle in stock form, and then by just changing the throttle body doesn't change the runners or the intake inlet or anything along those lines, right? So, naturally you're not really going to gain anything. The only thing you might gain is a little bit of throttle response, because naturally at a smaller percentage opening, more airflow is let in at that time. But wide open throttle, you are restricted by the runners, the intake, the cam profile, the valves, everything along those lines. So velocity is just as important as the volume. That's the reason why. So no, I don't recommend it. And even on some cam cars, I have put bigger throttle bodies and ported intakes on and haven't seen a benefit from it. So.
Piggybacking off that, huge throttle body. Let's say you have like a Whipple 3.8 with like a 130 mil throttle body, and your big concern, let's just say you want like a usable car on the street. Is a bigger throttle body going to give worse drivability, or is it just going to be hard to dial in? Or
it definitely is harder to dial in. The beauty of technology is having throttle by wire. Throttle bodies instead of throttle by cable, is that we can use the computer and the motor to fluctuate it, use timing more. So, but what I explain to people is when you have a go to an extreme, an 80 millimeter throttle body versus 130 millimeter throttle body, and you crack it 5%. The amount of airflow given in that 5% is massive on a huge throttle body. So when you have a stock car, right, even with the blower on it with an 85 millimeter throttle body in it, it has to fluctuate the throttle body 5% to maintain idle. You now jack up the size of that throttle body, man, you know what I mean? It just makes it that much more difficult. Now you have a big monster motor, right, and then you pulley down or pulley up to where it spins the blower slower. Naturally, we can do it. I have a ton of cars that I've tuned that have done it, you know what I'm saying? But it does make it more difficult. You got to understand what's going on with that massive blade. If you want to fluctuate at 1%, it's still a ton more airflow than, an 85 millimeter at 5%. So it does become challenging, especially with a big choppy cam and airflow pulsing the way it does with the rotors. A lot goes into it. So yes, it can be tuned. It takes a little more time. Have patience with your tuner, but street car wise, it's not optimal. But you gotta do what you gotta do to make horsepower.
Back to the basics. Something that I get asked pretty often: should you, pros and cons, dyno tune versus remote tune? Does one give you more power? What are pros and cons?
I think who's doing the tuning is more important than the how. And the reality of the fact is that a street tune via remote is going to give you more accurate results than that of a dyno. And the reason being is, natural load, real life conditions with airflow and things like that. The whole purpose of a dyno is safety. Instead of having to do wide open throttle pulls illegally on the street and going up to 150 miles an hour, we have a controlled environment for it. So, and then it's a measurable tool so you can see what happens at any given condition. So naturally, with experience and understanding of these components and how they work, our experience from what we see translates to that of a remote tune. So we don't need to worry about we know what results we're getting at any given timing setting and fuel ratio and things like that. So is one better than the other? I would honestly say a remote or street tune is better than a dyno tune, just because with the experience behind it, you're going to get a more accurate and safe tune with real life conditions. The dyno tune, like I said, is measurable to learn. It's controlled. It's safe. But some of the fastest cars that I've tuned, I've never, or at the time I didn't see in person, and they were dialed in at the racetrack. So, and I've had them on the dyno post, tuning, and verified results are consistent with what I see on the dyno and so on and so forth. So the experience and the consistency of how often we do this goes further than the fact that you're getting a piece of paper, because the other thing is a dyno sheet, depending on the dyno, can be manipulated as well. So it doesn't always mean you're getting that result. Where on the street, based on what the car is translating out to ET 60 to 130 data logs and everything, is what the car can take. So I always vote for street tuning. The dyno is purely cool to get a dyno sheet, and it's safety. So that's how we tune. Any car in the house is on the street and the dyno. We do both always, just to make sure it is a proper dialed in tune.
I mean, my Magnum, we got the 93 tune dialed in on the street, and then ever since it's been on E85, it's never hit the rollers again, and it's dialed. So
I don't think the TRX is. I don't think we're gonna have time to put the TRX on the dyno. So that's gonna be me driving to and from work with the girls going to school and stuff, dialing it in there, and then a couple hits at the track. So it just goes to show you don't need a dyno, but it's good control. Big horsepower cars, I absolutely prefer that instead of people doing watt pulls on the street with 1500. That's the point there. But you know what I mean. For most people, remote tuning, you're going to get the same, if not better, results than a dyno tune. Put it this way: a remote tune from somebody that knows what they're doing is going to be better than a dyno tune from somebody that doesn't. So do keep that in mind. I see people all the time, oh, you're better off going to a dyno tuner locally instead of a remote tune. But if that dyno tuner doesn't have the experience or really know what they're doing, are you really getting anything better? So the who is more important than the how.
That's the who.
You should get a hat like that.
What?
You should get a hat that says that.
That's the who?
That's the who.
You should.
I use that line all the time.
That's the who.
That's a good one. All right. Anyways,
new line of merch coming out, guys. Keep an eye out. We're also doing bucket hats. We're doing football helmets, cleats, whole bunch of stuff. Maybe not. DSC suspension controller versus Diablo.
Oh, the controller. So the Diablo one is pretty much the same thing as the DSC. It's the same company that makes it. Diablo just worked on making their own calibration for it, and it comes basically locked with that calibration. DSC provides you with a calibration for your vehicle, but you guys. The DSC allows you to tune it and fine tune it, so you have the ability to reprogram it, adjust the settings, and everything like that. Where the Diablo one is kind of preset. So that's pretty much why.
I think we need to do more hats.
I'll get more hats.
Okay. Snapbacks, anyone?
I do need a new baseball cap.
We do. Snapbacks would be cool. My HP tuners, I love it, but it doesn't rep Satera. This does. Speaking of,
HP tuners,
we have some shirts. We still have some hoodies. If you want something, hit us up. We might have your size in stock still, ready to ship. Let us know.
In purple. We'll get you purple. Don't worry.
In purple. Purple's faster, so you gotta make sure.
Got those coming too. I can actually read that.
Yeah, people love merch.
They love merch.
They love merch. What else should we do?
More of those banners in.
What else should we do? Intake manifolds? We're doing those.
We're doing those.
Any other updates like that besides merch, parts?
No.
Anything special?
No.
I hinted at some stuff, but I didn't give crazy details out there.
Look at that. Satera Tuning wants snapbacks. That's so funny.
Who's? Get off there, Cameron.
It's probably CJ.
Yeah.
It's probably CJ. Absolutely.
Chop truck rollers?
Oh,
yeah, he does photography.
Oh.
You get rollers.
Appreciate it. That's fine. But yeah. I think that's it for this week. You know, we got a lot of work to do.
Short, so we got to get out there and pump it out, man.
Yeah, so we're going to get back to it, guys. Keep the questions coming if you're watching this later. As always, we'll be back at the track next week.
Yeah.
Are we
going to go live from the track?
We're going to go live from the racetrack.
We're going live from the racetrack. Oh, should we do a run? In the TRX, run down on live?
Yeah, we could do that. So
so
live next week will be from our track rental at Byron. So we will be testing the truck. We'll have the Charger there. If it's not sold this week, we'll have a couple other customer cars there. We will have a guest.
Yeah.
We have a special guest coming out next week. I think some of you guys that have followed us for a while will be excited.
You do not want to miss it. I swear to God.
It'll be a good time. So have questions coming out. We'll go over some recap. We have some high horsepower cars coming to our track next week. So Byron never disappoints on the
prep.
On the prep and the service there.
Absolutely not.
Check in next week, guys. It'll be a fun one. Thanks for checking in. We'll see you.
Do not miss it.
All right. Bye, guys.